which are big local goats for your starting. After that, the other thing you have to look at is the housing. Um, the housing matters because it's how you can protect your animals. In Uganda, it's very common for people to have raised houses. You can have raised or on the ground. If you look around me, I have several pens, none of them is raised because I don't think it's necessary to raise your pens. What is necessary is one, you protect your animals from rain and wind. A lot of wind is not good, especially for the young ones. Two, make sure that the houses you make can be cleaned. For us, we have houses on the ground and we are able to sweep them every day, collect all the litter every day. What you need to be thinking about for sleeping purposes is that for every goat you should have at least 1.5 meters. So if you want, so you would have three, what do you call it? Like 1 meter by 1 meter for sleeping purposes. So if you have 30 goats, you want to have what do you call it? You want to have our houses are 30 feet by 30 feet. So that we have 1 meter. Yeah, I think that's what it is. So that would be 3 feet per goat, 3 by 3 feet per goat. So if you have that for sleeping, that's enough. But it's better that outside their sleeping enclosure, you have an exercise area. I don't know if Moses can be able to show us, but that is our house, one of our houses. But in front of it is an exercise area, so animals can go in and out as they wish. We choose to use high quality buildings, but you don't have to spend so much more. Just make sure there is enough roof and there is a way to protect them from too much wind, as well as enough aeration. And make sure there is an exercise area. Goats don't always be in the bush eating all the time. So in the morning and in the evening, do they have an exercise area in front where they can be? So I've talked about location or land. I've talked about the selection of the starting goats, and I've talked about basically about housing. And I've told you that you need 1 meter square, 1 meter by 1 meter for each goat. So if you have 30, make sure you have the right area that is for them, and make sure they have an exercise area. So then we think about feed. For us who don't have much land and are raising high quality animals, we spend a lot of money on buying hay or raising hay and other feed. But if you have land, just make sure that you have at least 1 acre for 10 goats, and they will browse. What is important here is that goats are browsers. Goats are not grazers. Sheep are grazers, cattle are grazers. So make sure you have that area that has shrubs. And so have a budget for making sure that you have that area that has shrubs. And if you don't have enough shrubs, because shrubs have more nutrition, then make sure you supplement your animals with protein, energy, and minerals and vitamins. So some of us at our farm, we will give some supplements. In my other videos, you've seen me, there is a feeder, we put supplements, and those supplements are normally equivalent to 1% of the body weight of the animal. So if the animal is, like that male might be 80 kilograms, we make sure it eats 800 grams of supplemental feed that has all the nutrition per day. So that's very important. So you make sure they have sufficient feed all the time and water access all the time. That's what it takes to run a goat farm. In addition to feed, there are other running expenses. The other running expenses are vet costs. You possibly have a vet visit your farm at least once a month for either treatment or just to look at them. And you should budget about 100,000 Uganda shillings for that kind of visit. The vets will charge you for transport, and if they do any treatment, they will charge you maybe 50,000 for their professional fees, and maybe 50,000 for their transport to come to your farm, depending on how far it is. So you have to think also about staff costs. You want to think that for every 50 goats you have, if you are free browsing, you will need one herdsman. If you're doing intensive farming, that may go higher because the cleaning of pens, the carrying of feed around, the watering of animals is a bit more. So you may have one person for every 30 goats. But if you're free browsing, one herdsman for 50 to 70 animals is good enough. You also have to think about the cost of what I call management. You have to put your time into planning for these things. When are they breeding? When are they producing kids? What do you need there and then? So think about, will you put in your own time or will you have a manager? And that one costs you also some money. I'm not going to tell you how much money you have to pay salaries. That depends from farm to farm and from area to area. The other thing you have to think about is market. So depending on what enterprise you decided, if you decided to go for meat, start thinking about where will I sell this goat? Will farmers come to my farm? Will I look to butchermen to come and collect them? Will I butcher the animals myself and sell meat? Or will I set up a goat roasting point in my local town? It's good to think about how am I going to sell my product and start making plans of how do these people know, the ones I'm selling to. For us who are breeders, we have to know who are the farmers that want to improve their farms by getting good genetics. So we are always looking for the farmers who want to improve their genetics, and then we prepare information for them. We show them pictures of our animals, we tell them the prices, and we are always creating that information to share with our potential farmers. I don't want to make a very long video. I will come back to this subject. Some of you can reach out to me and I'll give you more specifics, but what do you need to start? So let me just summarize today. Today I spoke about what you need to start a goat farm. I told you about the land, and I said you need land where you can have at least 1 acre for 10 goats for free browsing. Goat is the most profitable way to run goat farming. 2, I talked about breeds. You need to make sure that if you're going to be a breeder, you have all females and males that are pure. If you're going to produce meat, have very many local females and a male that is pure, so that the offsprings are crosses and they grow faster at an affordable price. I also talked about housing or shelter. You need a house that can protect the animals from rain and too much wind and too much sun, but make sure in front of your housing you have an exercise area, and also make sure that your houses are cleanable. It doesn't matter whether they are raised or on the ground, that's fine. Make sure you have the money for regular medications and vet visits, and think about how you are going to sell your animals. If you're a breeder, look for farmers that will buy the animals you're breeding. If you're going to produce meat, start knowing who buys goats for slaughter. Thank you very, very much. If you put these factors in financial terms, you'll be able to get a budget for to start with. I recommend you start with 1 male and start the females. Thank you and God bless you. You can reach me on my number, which is be on the screen, which is 07888 32418, and I can answer your questions. Thank you. This is Kenneth from Sinza Breeding.